How do you have the best and worst birthday at the same time? Ask Nick, because that's exactly what happened to him in this episode. He gets to spend the day with his friends and his boyfriend, but then there's the fight between Isaac and Tao and his growing concerns about Charlie, and finally, the talk. This episode beautifully balances the light-hearted moments we love, like the teacher's moment in the car, with the heavier emotional beats that make Heartstopper so impactful. It's an episode about friendship, growth, and the courage to ask for help. Let's dive into the emotional challenges and triumphs of this episode. A quick note before we begin. You might notice that this video looks a little different. Instead of using video clips, I've had to switch up to still images for this one. But the analysis and discussions are just as thoughtful and in-depth as usual. Hopefully this is just a one-off and I'll be back to the usual style next time. Thanks for sticking with me. Now on to the video. Episode Overview. The school term begins and the group is back together, though it's clear that things aren't entirely as they were before. Nick and Charlie's reunion is sweet, but Nick's worry about Charlie's well-being lingers in the background. Charlie is increasingly closed off, but tries to put on a brave face. Despite his struggles, Charlie pours his energy into planning a surprise zoo trip for Nick's birthday, determined to give him a special day. At the zoo, tensions within the group start bubbling to the surface. Isaac finally reaches his breaking point, expressing his frustrations about feeling left out, as most of the friend group are in relationships. Elle steps up to smooth things over, convincing Tao to apologise to Isaac for unintentionally sidelining him in his excitement over his budding new romance. In a moment of vulnerability, Isaac comes out as asexual and aromantic to the group, sharing how difficult it's been for him to feel like he fits in. Tao and Isaac's, and then the whole group's conversation is heartfelt, with Tao recognising that his behaviour has hurt Isaac, even if it wasn't intentional. Amid the fun of the zoo trip, Tao and Nick start noticing troubling signs in Charlie's behaviour. He's lethargic, withdrawn, and seems to be pushing himself too hard to keep everyone happy. Later, in a quiet, emotional scene, Nick gently convinces Charlie to open up about what he's going through. He encourages Charlie to confide in his parents about his mental health struggles and to seek the support he needs. First day of school. The first day back at school kicks off with Nick in high spirits, eager to get back. He's determined to look his best and get to school quickly, but not before giving Nellie a quick, affectionate pat, because no matter how busy life gets, there's always time for Nellie. Meanwhile, in the school car park, we're treated to a cute moment between Mr. Ajay and Mr. Farouk, as they confirm that they're dating. They share a kiss that Coach Singh catches, and she jokes,
"You have to be sneakier than that, or the kids will be saying you're engaged by break time."
Elsewhere, Tara is already feeling the weight of her responsibilities. Overwhelmed by the pressures piling up, things get even more intense when the teacher suggests that she apply to be a prefect. Darcy, on the other hand, seems to be thriving. Wearing pants instead of the usual uniform skirt, she exudes confidence and shows how much she's growing into herself. Over at Lambert, Elle is settling into her new school and is thrilled to reconnect with her new friends. Her excitement is infectious, but Tao is feeling the distance more than he expected. Tao is lonely without Elle and can't stop providing a play-by-play of what she's doing at Lambert. His constant commentary begin to annoy Charlie and Isaac.
I love Elle, yeah, but I don't need a minute-by-minute update of what she's up to.
I'm sad. I miss her.
When Nick and Charlie finally reunite in the corridor, you can feel the hug through the screen. They embrace warmly, and although Charlie initially wanted to kiss Nick, the hug feels more important in the moment. Some students comment on their relationship, causing an awkward moment of self-consciousness as they pull apart. It's still new territory for them, but Nick quickly recovers, brushing it off. Together, they slip away to find a quiet spot where they can share a private kiss away from prying eyes. The first day of school captures a mix of emotions, joy, nerves, new beginnings, and old issues. The day in the life feel of the opening is fun to watch. We know they all have things going on, but they're all excited to be back together. Isaac and Tao clash. The new term kicks off, and with it comes some tension in the friend group, particularly between Isaac and Tao. Isaac's patience is running thin as he grows increasingly frustrated with Tao's constant talk about Elle. In a moment of growing passive aggressiveness, Isaac tells both Charlie and Tao,
You two need to get a life, I swear.
clearly fed up with feeling sidelined, while everyone else seems to be consumed by their relationships. This frustration spills over into a conversation with James, who openly envies the ease of Nick and Charlie's relationship.
Wish I had a boyfriend. James, no. I need at least one single friend, okay?
But James, showing real understanding, gently reminds Isaac that there's nothing wrong with him. He also acknowledges Isaac's aromantic identity with respect. It's the first time in a while Isaac feels truly seen, and this small moment of connection visibly lifts his spirits. However, at the zoo trip that Charlie planned for Nick's birthday, Isaac's irritation with Tao bubbles over again. Isaac can't hold back his passive-aggressive jabs,
Oh no, looks like you're stuck with me again.
finally snapping and calling Tao out for not being a good friend lately. Tao, caught off guard and defensive, bites back, accusing Isaac of wanting a relationship so badly but walking away from James when he had the chance. The tension between them is palpable, and the group feels it. By lunch, the atmosphere is awkward and heavy, with Tao and Isaac pointedly avoiding each other. Elle takes matters into her own hands, pulling Tao aside for a private chat. Meanwhile, Tara, Darcy, Sahar and Imogen try their best to tear up Isaac. During her conversation with Tao, Elle gently but firmly points out that he's doing exactly what he was angry at Charlie for last year, neglecting his friends in favour of a relationship. Tao's reaction is a mix of guilt and self-awareness, and his body language conveys just how much Elle's words have hit home. Tao takes the first steps towards reconciliation, approaching Isaac with an apology. Tao acknowledges that he hasn't been a good friend lately, and that he's been too wrapped up in his own world. Isaac listens, and after a moment of reflection, he forgives Tao. The two make amends, finding common ground again, and restoring the bond that has been so strained. To reinforce their support, the entire group rallies around Isaac. They remind him that his journey as someone who is aromantic and asexual is valid, and that his self-discovery and self-acceptance is a process. The collective reassurance is a touching reminder of the strength of their friendship and how much they care for each other. Tao, having finally refocused on his friends, also begins to notice that something's off with Charlie. Nick's birthday. Nick is thrilled to finally see Charlie after being away on holiday, but underneath his excitement, he's trying to navigate the delicate balance of addressing Charlie's struggles without pushing too hard. The last episode's heavy conversation still lingers in his mind, and Nick is determined to tread carefully while being there for Charlie. When Charlie brings up Nick's birthday, Nick brushes it off, insisting that he doesn't want to make a big fuss about it. He always seems to be more comfortable letting others take the spotlight, rather than him being the centre of attention. For Charlie, Nick's birthday is not only an opportunity to celebrate someone so important to him, but it's also a way to distract himself from his own spiralling thoughts. Seeing how much it means to Charlie, Nick can't really argue. The day begins with Nick arriving at Charlie's house, where he shares a quiet but heartfelt conversation with Tori. It's a rare moment between them, and they exchange their shared worries about Charlie. Tori's perceptiveness and Nick's genuine concern create a bond that's both touching and solemn. The look they share as Nick leaves is heart-wrenching, as they both feel so helpless. Charlie's surprise for Nick? A trip to the zoo with their friends. Nick is visibly moved by the thoughtful gesture, his happiness shining through as he spends the day surrounded by the people he loves. Yet even amongst the laughter and fun, Nick can't shake his growing concerns for Charlie. Throughout the day, he watches closely, picking up on the signs that something is still very off. Now that Tao's paying attention, he's never one to back down and brings up his concerns about Charlie directly to Nick. While Tao's intentions are clearly caring, Nick knows that his friend's more dramatic approach might do more harm than good for Charlie in his fragile state. Nick's anxiety around the whole situation spikes and has him lashing out at Tao.
Because he can barely talk to me about it.
As the day winds down, it's clear that Charlie is running on empty. Nick decides to call it a day, prioritising Charlie's well-being. Back at Nick's house, the emotional weight of the day is softened by a sweet, sentimental moment. Charlie gives Nick his birthday present, a collection of all the jumpers that Charlie has borrowed from Nick, alongside a thoughtful photo album with a memory they shared at the beach. Nick is visibly touched, and in a reciprocal gesture, just like with the lemur earlier as a thank you for the party, he gives Charlie his jumper from the day. Charlie has to keep one. Nick's birthday is a perfect blend of celebration and reflection, highlighting both the joy and the complexity of their relationship. Even on a day meant for him, Nick's love and concern for Charlie takes centre stage, reminding us of just how much these two mean to each other. Charlie struggles. Charlie is now grappling with the weight of admitting he has an eating disorder, and the reality of what that means is sinking in. Saying the words out loud was one thing. Facing the implications and taking the steps forward is another. His internal stress is mounting, and rather than feeling relieved after opening up to Nick, he seems more overwhelmed than ever. At a quiet moment at school, Charlie attempts to talk to Mr. Agi about his struggles with food, but just as he starts to open up, the conversation is cut short when Nick walks in. It's frustrating to see, because Mr. Agi has always been a safe person for Charlie, and you can't help but wonder how things might have gone if they'd had the time to finish the talk. Charlie's willingness to reach out, even briefly, shows he knows he needs help, but as soon as the moment passes, he withdraws again. The stress Charlie is carrying is taking a visible toll. His eating habits are worsening, and with that, his energy levels are plummeting. The exhaustion is so severe that he actually falls asleep on Nick at school, something that doesn't go unnoticed. Along with his exhaustion, Charlie is starting to get more defensive and short-tempered. When Nick tries to bring up the eating thing in the art room, Charlie shuts him down, insisting he doesn't want to talk about it so he can have a good day. At the zoo, things escalate further. When Nick gently encourages him to eat, Charlie snaps, the frustration bubbling over. The last thing he wants is to be treated like a problem, even though deep down, he knows Nick's concern is coming from a place of love. Throughout the zoo trip, Charlie's mood is noticeably low. He seems disengaged unless he is directly interacting with someone, and even then, his sadness lingers just beneath the surface. It's as if he's putting on a front, forcing himself to appear okay when, in reality, he's struggling more than ever. Another troubling sign is Charlie's increasing self-consciousness about his appearance. Last episode, he couldn't bring himself to send a selfie to Nick, and now he actively avoids being in the group photo. He also fidgets more with his arm, something that might go unnoticed to the others, but is a clear sign of his self-harm thoughts, something he confided in Nick about at the end of season 2, are creeping back in. Charlie is caught in a downward spiral, pushing himself to keep up with everyone else while barely holding on. And as much as his friends and Nick want to help, the walls he's putting up are making it harder and harder to reach him. The talk. After everything that's happened, Nick finally takes his aunt's advice and decides it's time to have the conversation. He knows it won't be easy, but he also knows Charlie can't keep going on like this. So despite the nerves, he takes a deep breath and starts. Nick gently wakes up a sleeping Charlie, who has been completely drained all day. The moment Charlie stirs, Nick eases into it, mentioning how exhausted he seems. That alone is enough for Charlie to tense up, and his immediate reaction is to put distance between them, scrambling to sit up and move away. But Nick doesn't let him retreat. He softly takes hold of Charlie's arm, not forcefully, just enough to ground him. Whether he realizes that Charlie has a habit of grabbing his own arm when he's overwhelmed, or he simply wants to offer comfort, the moment is intimate and full of unspoken understanding. Once Nick starts talking, he can't stop. Even though Charlie avoids looking at him, he keeps going, determined to reach him. He lays it all out, how sad Charlie seems, the lack of energy, that he couldn't help but try and fix Charlie because Nick loves him so much, and now knowing that it's not enough. It's not a way to put pressure on Charlie. It's a way that lets him know that he's seeing what's happening and that he cares too much to ignore it. Charlie wants to shut it all out. Every instinct is screaming at him to run, to avoid, to pretend he's fine. But this time, he just can't. The weight of everything crashes down, and instead of looking away, he finally meets Nick's eyes. There's fear there and hesitation, but more than anything, there's a silent plea for help. Nick reassures Charlie that he's not alone in this, and that he'll be there every step of the way. And he's not just saying it, he proves it, by offering to go with him to his parents, to make sure they listen and don't get angry. It's the final push Charlie needs. And then, he does exactly that. With Nick by his side, Charlie walks into the house where his parents are waiting. Tori sits on the stairs, listening quietly, ever the quiet protector. His parents are fully engaged, concern written all over their faces as Charlie opens up to them. And then, the words that hit like a gut punch.
I want to get better.
It's raw, vulnerable, and filled with so much uncertainty. He doesn't know what the road ahead looks like, but for the first time, he's willing to take the step. And that alone is everything. This episode of Heartstopper is a masterclass of balancing emotional weight with moments of hope and love. Nick's birthday becomes the backdrop of a story that showcases the beauty of friendship, the complexity of relationships, and the courage it takes to ask for help. From Tao and Isaac's heartfelt reconciliation to Nick and Charlie's deeply vulnerable moments, this episode highlights the importance of connection and support in navigating life's challenges. The group dynamic continues to evolve, with each character facing their own struggles and growth. Isaac's frustrations are valid, Al's gentle guidance helps Tao recognize his misstep, and Tori's quiet strength underscores how vital it is to have someone see what others might miss. And at the heart of it all is Nick and Charlie, two people learning what it means to truly be there for each other, even when it's hard. Charlie's admission to his parents, supported by Nick every step of the way, is a powerful turning point. The line, "I want to get better," resonates deeply, showing that the first step towards healing often is the hardest leap of faith. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown as we dive into Charlie's healing journey. And as always, thanks for watching, and let's see what other secrets we can uncover next time on Nerdy Investigations.